Good afternoon. This is the first attempt actually that I'll get to make. I have a couple of videos up on YouTube. My name is Brien Charles. This lady, her name is Tennise Charles. We two, man, we were the top graduates ever attended Empire Education Group of Jackson, Tennessee. That school number is 2903. Somehow, Beth Krause, Sandy, Tina McGovern, Nafzinger, Myro, Joan Binkley Schofield, all the way up to the top of that company, as well as over at Regis Salons. These people never reported our graduations and licensure. Well, they reported it, but they gave all our supporting documents to others who they was going to set up as us. Now, mind you, my wife on just about every job she's had since we met Empire Education Group 2013, she has been sexually harassed and bullied damn near off the job. But she tolerated it based on me being denied the opportunity to work, period. So we're living out of our car right now. We've basically been homeless since we met Empire Education Group November of 2017. I have a Facebook account that I'm not able to access it right now because I'm dealing with a especially aggravated identity theft, cyber stalking. I got family members helping these people. People whom got the same blood as me. So we see again that the Bible has a lot of valid, what you would call analogies. We see where Cain slew his brother Abel. You fast forward to today, we see how, man, 85-90% of the homicides are committed by people that you know. It's very rarely a perfect stranger walk up to you and take your life. It's somebody you thought you knew, who had made a pact with the evil ones and are willing to do anything to get all they can get out of this third dimension because they know they have nothing to look forward to on the other side. So I've been up against it. These people were somehow, well, I know how they did it. They set up me and my wife's unemployment account. We've been trying to go around and set up P.O. Box or do it whatever we could, trying to get our lives back out of these people's hands. We didn't know to the extent how deeply they had our lives engulfed. Again, they've made several attempts on both our lives. I got a call August 20th, 2017. It's somebody else, a male voice on the other end of the phone, but he's calling me. He's telling me that I need to get to the emergency room. Something has happened to my wife. I get to the emergency room. She got a gash in her head, and her shoulder is dislocated. It's still kind of mending right now. She's sitting right here, so I hope she don't get upset as I'm doing this video. But the state of Tennessee has failed us. I follow the governor of Tennessee right now, Governor Lee. I follow him on Facebook and Twitter. When I was in Tennessee, I would contact him directly on Facebook, notifying him of what I was dealing with. A couple times I got some responses as though some people were looking into it out of his office. But I sit here today. They cut our unemployment checks off 7 weeks ago. They rerouted the money to themselves. But I know these people aren't that crazy. They wouldn't do that if they didn't have the green light from some people in state office there in Tennessee. Tennessee is a state, as a physical state, of course, it's a beautiful place. But prior to slavery, they took that region from the Native American. Prior to slavery, these people have been vicious racists. Down there, you get up to Knoxville and you walk down the street, they'll holler monkey out their door. Man, you better not be walking in Knoxville, Tennessee. So they almost killed me and my wife. If I wasn't out of the inner city of Memphis, Tennessee, I would be dead. But I know how to recognize behaviors, mannerisms. When people try to hurt you these days, they smiling before they lure you to where they're trying to get you to. So they're not coming at you like they're mad at you at all. So we really have to be blessed in this day and time. That's a word that people of color use, blessed. Fortunate is another good word. But I'm fighting, man. I'm going all out. My name again is Brien Charles. Man, I'm a top graduate of Empire Education Group and the Barber School on Jackson Avenue. Now, mind you, both of those institutions are being shut down as me and you speak. One of them already been shut down, but Empire Education Group, they were somewhat what you would call a behemoth. They had Regis Salons Regis Salon owned 55% of them. So that's a controlling ownership. So these complaints that I'm venting to you guys on YouTube, man, these people at Regis Salons high up are very aware of me. I was contacting them directly through my 901-728-3883 and my Brien Charles lowercase 26 at gmail.com prior to them seizing it. So I guess the authorities have been on these people's case. So I see where they didn't restart it to Brien Charles 777 at gmail.com. But or they may have never closed it out. That's the one I used when I filed the case with the American Arbitration Association back October of 2017. Again, mind you, they had attacked my wife August 20th. I was wrongfully terminated from Kroger on Kingston Pike August 24th. I was a union employee. They had took monies out of the union on my check and everything. The union never came and said a word in regards to help me on my behalf. I present all these documents on my Twitter as well as my Facebook page. So I've done my part. I've given the authorities all they would need to know to round these people up. Yet I still sit in my car, homeless. Got to go and ask somebody in a minute for a few dollars where me and my wife can eat. And I'm a licensed cosmetologist and a master barber. And my wife a licensed cosmetologist. So the world rioted because of the demise, that tragic killing of George Floyd. I was talking with Deion Sanders on my Twitter. And I was trying to get him, I was imploring him to assist me. I'm worthy of your help. Well, he came back with a retort to me. He said that basically that adversity is what I need. I think about when he said that, I thought about the rich man in Lazarus. You know, they say, oh, Lazarus laid at the rich man's door with the sores on his body, and the dogs had compassion on him. They came and licked his sores, and I guess to heal them and to get that flavor off the pus, I guess. But the rich man wouldn't help Lazarus long as he was alive. He threw away the meat, the food, the dainty meats. He threw them away instead of giving them to Lazarus. I got family members like that. Oh, Larry Charles and Reginald Charles. Evil, wicked. But I know where he got it from. And it wasn't from my Uncle E.C. Because he loved me with a passion. Seemed like when he and my mother left the scene, these people, they just been plotting ever since. My family. They despised him because they say he had to create another family outside of the one he had. But you know how it went back in the day? Back in the 50s and 60s? And 70s? You could beat your wife or your woman in the middle of the street back then. And they might give you a reward for it. It was no domestic violence. So I don't know what his relationship was with Aunt Catherine. I know she's living in a house that he bought. She didn't buy it. But you think I'm welcome there? his blood? No, they went to inviting her family in there. And my Uncle E.C., he would allow this mentally ill Willie Norris to be there even while he was alive. Good man, quality man, Uncle E.C. These people so diabolical, they may have poisoned him over there. I don't know. I sure hate that he left here when he did. My mother, she never really recovered behind that. I don't know the exact year he passed. My mother passed in 96. I had a brother, Tony Charles, he passed in 93. I'm a recovered person, so I wasn't going to rob and kill nobody to get no crack, but I would go and steal or maybe throw a brick in the window and try to run in there in the store and grab me something to take and get me a hit of crack. But we know, I said that, I'm candidly honest about who I've been, but we know that drug addiction, it has touched the whole world, all of our families. So a lot of you all may not be able to be as candid as me, still have some things to work through, to whereas you can vent these types of things and use these types of mediums to vent. You see, I can't afford a psychiatrist, but God knows I'm going through a lot of psychological stress. So I'm hoping this helping my wife just in earshot of me. We're calling for a victory here any day now. You know, they say it's normally the darkest right before the dawn. So it appears we're in a bad place. It appears that nobody hears my pleas for help. But I know appearances can be just that. Appearances. Just that. So I'm not going to stay long on here. I'm really hoping to see, I'm trying to look to see what it's going to do when I go to try to upload it. Hopefully it's already uploaded because it asked me to go live or something. Not live, but next to live. Record, I think. Again, I'm Brien Charles, man. I'm dealing with a state of Tennessee. They feigning incompetence to my pleas for help. I was working for Pilot Flying J's of Dixon. I was there for a little over 4 months. I had become the top cashier there. When you apply for the job at Pilot, they'll bring you on, but you have to do onboarding tasks. Well, it appears that these onboarding tasks really aren't that important. But if you go past that onboarding task and just leave it due to incompetence, then you'll look up, you hear the people murmuring at the jobs, well, I've been here for this long, but I still just make this much money. But once you come to the realization, the reason you just make that much money is because you're incompetent. And the reason you got the job is 9 times out of 10, you knew somebody of the same shade as you. One based on no merit. So I've been up against it on most of the jobs I've gotten. They blocked me from doing and fixing hair since 8/13/2016 at the Smart Style Salon on Kensal Way, and this in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was telling you about the racism there in Knoxville. This lady, her name was Tammy. She was the district manager there. She had 8 stores. No license to do no hair. What they was looking for, Regis salons, is vicious racists. People to run their establishment until they run them in the ground. So I leave out of there. Prior to coming to there, I had been working at Fantastic Sam's on Ringo Road in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I tried to work there. My wife had worked there prior to me. It was a Sarah Tipton there. She wrongfully terminated me. She just harassed my wife. They have these butches. That's how you have to title these people. See, that's a woman who wants to be a man when it's convenient for her. But you let a man get on their ass, now they want to switch back to a woman. You see how that's mental illness. But that's what we've been up against. So we live in a society that is saying that it's based on diversity. We have women digging ditches now, standing right there with the men on the construction crew. But Joan Binkley Schofield, Beth Krause, Sandy Tina McGovern, Nazinga Myro, Mr. Scoman, Hugh Sawyer there at Regis Salons, and those people, Mr. Dankin and different ones up them high up in Regis Salons. They decided that I shouldn't be able to do nothing. I go to flip a burger, they'll call in. A lot of this is coming from my family as well. Oh, Larry Charles and Kathy Charles and Reginald Charles and Darrell Charles and maybe even Catherine Charles, but I think she's too incompetent to do these types of things. So they would somehow, my family saw that I was trying to go to school or try to go and get a decent job. They would call into those jobs and make me out to be a rapist. I look up these people coming at me from all angles, knowing all the time the rapist over there at their mother's house on Ellison Road. And he raped their nieces. And their mother had to have knowledge of that. This Aunt Catherine I'm telling you about. Took up the mantle after my Uncle E.C. passed. So these people have a number of skeletons in their closet. And they despise me because, man, I hadn't seen my mother like that and I was catching hell. No, I take that back. They despised me since I was a child. My father's name was Frank Gordon, out of Memphis down there, South Memphis. They called him Lefty. And his brother was Roscoe Gordon, the famous blues singer out of Memphis. He passed some years ago. He had moved up there to New York. Me and him looked just alike. They despised me because I had a good family support from my dad's side until they were older people though. So they're no longer here, and my relationship with those who would be my age now, that it was severed many years ago. You know how right now, even today, just say I have this baby by this girl. I got a situation like that in my personal life right now. I got a daughter. She's grown now. But her mother was some kind of way able to make me out to be the worst human being God made. And I know I got some of me is in my daughter. So how could she go for that? But we find that just because people have the same blood as you, that don't make them your family. We find out that Cain was a demon, not Abel. It was Cain. So Cain left there and he was the progenitor of a race of people. Of course, their skin was black, and their hearts turned out was black as well. So I'm laboring, man, to get my life out of these people's hands. I'm 52 years young, and man, I like to hit the golf ball. I really like to teach substance abuse to those struggling to recover from addictions. Man, I'm an awesome teacher. You ought to see me. Go up there to Memphis and go over there to the Harbor House and get Jock Tate to run some of those tapes back. They had called him. They were tracking me so tough. Because I've been trying to get my credentials, man, since 2017 of February, once I discovered they were taken. I didn't know my family had been given my credentials and loan monies and all this to help these people at the school. All this has been revealed to me in my sleep. Just like with Brother Joseph in the Bible. Yusuf to the Islamic community. He had a gift where he can interpret dreams, not just he, as others. So I ain't trying to be no soothsayer and interpret nobody else's dream. I'm just getting a gist of how to interpret my own. But I get all this information through the dream world of who attacking me and how they're attacking me. So I've put this out for the world to see. I demand justice. I ain't gonna go nowhere and try to pass no bill where they can kill me like they did George Floyd. I got this water right here. I went in this store and I used that drink thing on the drink thing to put me some cold water in here. I called earlier for some help. I don't know, they made and intercepted that. You never can tell. I might call back and check in a minute. But, man, I've been up against it, man. Those people at Empire Education Group, Regis Salons, they spared no effort. They exhausted that little money I asked for at the American Arbitration Association of Weirich, New Jersey, back October of 2017, just 1 month after they had stalled my Tennessee Human Rights Commission. They had intercepted all this. I didn't just reach at these people trying to sue them. I thought it was just the people I was dealing with was attacking me. Man, come to find out they were trying to hide the theft of $120,000 in financial aid and loan monies. Now it went up there over $2 million that they didn't took from me because they took $1.9 million that I demanded in arbitration. They tried to 4-day fake out those people and tell them that they was paying me. Sent the money to themselves back in Knoxville, Tennessee. I was in Phoenix, Arizona. So now the feds are chasing them down for that. You know you can't pass $3,000 without the feds knowing about it. So they thought they was going to get away with all this kind of money. I was in Dixon, Tennessee one day. This white ex-con's vagabond stayed in the hotel. I'm noticing that these people, they rather have a vagabond than someone who really has potential. The vagabond said, the feds been watching you smoke marijuana every day. So they must not be here looking for no marijuana. Oh, and they found 2 boxes of money. Oh, they did. So that was 2 boxes of money the Empire Education Group, Regis Salons, was trying to pass and keep instead of giving it to me. Well, man, they've called in the cavalry with these type of diabolical acts. Feds everywhere. And that's how it's supposed to be. You see, we still living in a country that's based on laws, the rule of law. Just because you ladies and men choose to lay with each other, that don't make you more powerful than us who choose to lay with the opposite sex. That don't make you better than us because you choose that. And that don't make us better than you. But we ain't nowhere stealing y'all identity. Calling and lying on you at houses and cars. Houses and jobs because I'm trying to keep your credentials and give you mine if you ain't careful. And I ain't done nothing because I'm dumb. I'm illiterate. I don't know how to do nothing. But vice. So, I don't know. I'm not going to be on here a lot longer. Somehow, these people so diabolical, they're able to block my YouTube page. Because I know if somebody hear me, because I listen to certain people. But I would want to hear more of that. And I would let that person know I want to hear more of that. When I try to go live, they say it ain't compatible with my phone or something. That's these people using this powerful Mac computer that I uploaded this off my screen this morning. It's on my Twitter account on the Brien. They kind of intercepted that because I would have put up my whole name. So they couldn't stop me from getting in there, but they did stop me from putting my whole name. So they've been taking Facebook accounts, Facebook monies that I've earned through videos. They've been taking it. Some of them was my family. Venus Britton, Larry Charles, Reginald Charles. Diabolical people. Satanists. See, I'm not a racist. You see, a racist, he'll make all the Satanists out to be people of the other race. And he's the good guy. Let him tell it, he or she. But I understand that, man, the Satanists can be black as blue. Your color don't make you. That is your philosophical choice. Oh, man, I've been making videos all day, so I'm finna get off this one. This has been 25 minutes. I hope I didn't offend any of you innocent viewers. But my family, I'm targeting you like you've been targeting me, so I'm trying to offend you. I hope them folks show up at your door and lock you motherfuckers up. That's what you've been pulling for to get me done, to me. Really, you've been trying to get me killed. Reginald and Larry, last time I talked to your mother, I was telling her about what was going on in my life. You know what she said to me? You ain't gonna give us none of that money. She said, and Boy, them boys will kill you about that money. I ain't called no figure on money. So what was she talking about? Out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. She was talking about what Larry, you and Reginald been telling her about. How y'all had then played little Brien and his wife and had a better relationship with Empire Education Group than he did. And he was the one was sitting in there in the school every day. So y'all didn't, your mother's just Freudian slip what you had told her. I noticed when I came out the bathroom, she's standing there like I'm trying to steal something from her. She should have been standing there watching Adrian rape her grandchildren and trying to protect them. But she think more of property than she do people. That's that mental illness I was telling you about. That's self-hatred that's inbred in some of us. But we got all the latest purses, you see. But our family's mindsets are in shambles. I was down there in Jackson, Tennessee. I was trying to work. I was wondering why they was getting me fired like that. That was Larry and Reginald. Determined to hurt me. Determined that I wasn't going to be successful. Because their daddy loved me. Uncle EC. More than he loved them. Looked like it. I remember one time he whooped the shit out of Reginald. Standing there with that pick in his hand like he gonna do something. Just because he was tall. He's always been a dumbass in retrospect. But a lot of times this system that just failed, that's the type they wanted. A dumbass. One that's gonna go home and whoop his wife to death if he catch him cheating on her with somebody else. Same with his brother Larry. The same with their personal friend Lee Tripley. I'm sure the same with this boy Daryl Montgomery, who took me and my wife's income taxes back in March and gave them to Regis Salons or Larry Charles. We didn't get them. Told me to come back up there when I called him about my money. Basically trying to lure me back up there, him and Larry and them, and they got, Jackson, Tennessee is a little bitty town. Socially, economically depressed town. So it's a lot of dumbass niggas that do anything for $5 or $10. And they always hate on Jackson, Tennesseans. For some reason, people of color, they hate black people of Memphis if they're not their families. And will kill them for nothing. So they made several attempts on my life. Come to find out these were coming from my family. Trying to live and be me. Gonna give this boy Adrian over there with the mama, gonna give him my social, I guess, and let him, he can come out and be a normal human being. He's a vicious rapist. Sadistic rapist. No, I'm not gonna rephrase that. He's a pedophile. He don't want no adult, because he had my cousin Sandra right there. Beautiful lady. He want the children. My spirit tell me that Larry and Reginald knew that it was happening while it was happening. But they may have got to be in the other room masturbating while he was doing that. See, you got to factor in what the Satanists will do. Just because he got on a suit, look at Epstein. He had mansions all up there in New York City. And I know this Empire Education Group had a lot of schools there in New York. The way they have treated me, man, you've shown me that you'll do anything. So maybe you were in there with some of them parties with Epstein and them children. But I'm going to leave that for the authorities to handle. But I need for you racists to turn loose our credentials. Let my life alone, our lives. They stopped our unemployment. They inserted a HireQuest. Me and my wife never worked for HireQuest. We were there working for Trojan laborers on Cooper Avenue in Midtown Memphis. Well, I looked up. The same guy I'd seen September 7th, 2018 on this balcony at this hotel me and my wife were forced to live in. Beth Krause was down in a car, a SUV, looking up at me. They were trying to hit me that day. again, I got the revelation as I was laying in my bed September 7th. The morning of September 8th, I was waking out of my sleep and told who Beth Krause was and that was a shooter. Well, that same shooter showed up on Cooper Avenue with that same laptop computer, then replaced the computer that Trojan Labor had there. Print me out worksheets all the time. He put me back into their computer. And got my wife because they never would give me a check stub on her. So eventually they, about around April, they stopped giving me assignments. That very day I walked in there and he was in there. They knew I recognized him. So they stopped giving me work, so we eventually had to leave Memphis, but they kept our accounts, our identities. So we've been going around trying to find work and trying to just, the society collapsed in March. So my wife was working for Mac Rocket Great Clips of Dixon. So she thought, come to find out, they didn't even have her on the roster. They had never taken back her identity from Regis salons. And they are after me with a passion because I was forced to try to get the authorities to get these motherfuckers off my back and to get me my credentials back out their hands. So I'm still on an all-out quest for that. We've been living in our car, we've been homeless since we met Empire Education Group in 2013. I didn't know where the assaults were coming from. They are coming from my cousin, Larry and Reginald, and my sister Venus Britton. Maybe my daughter's auntie, Tanya. She's some kind of way and got herself tied up with these people. Empire Education Group, they still got a bankroll where they can bribe people and do all kind of shit. But the authorities are closing in on them, shutting them down as we speak. They shut down the barber school I attended. I was last in Jackson, Tennessee. I stopped in there to see Mr. Flakes. I had a great respect for Mr. Flakes. But I wonder why, when I would be trying to get into barber school many years ago, he had a school. He never would let me in. But I looked up and Darrell was in there with him. Well, Darrell was using my credentials then. Darrell, he's an incompetent, just like his daddy. Daddy been all through college, but he's an incompetent. No child left behind, that's the same as our Common Core today. But if you're a realist, you realize that no child left behind left them all behind. So they left him behind. Any wisdom or knowledge you hear coming from me, of course, it comes from the Most High God in quest for knowledge like you wouldn't believe. So I'm going to get off here, man. My wife, she ain't telling me to get off here. I guess I'm not cursing. She don't like it when I'm doing a lot of profanity. I don't either. It don't feel good. I'm a quality gentleman. I deserve a good life, not just to exist. I like to hit the golf ball. I was up in Fillmore, Utah. I was hitting that golf ball just about every day. I looked up Regis salons, then that same computer. Now the manager of the golf course got this same computer that was at Trojan Labor in Memphis. They stalking tough. It's called gang stalking. They learned the tactics from guys like Hitler. You see? It's come from guys like that. Notice Sandy Myro chose Tina McGovern Nafzinger. One night I was just looking at that Nafzinger, and I was able to get Nazi before I got to the 6 or 7 word syllable letter. I came up with the word Nazi. In that little voice, and now you think this a coincidence? No. Dealing with vicious racists. That's how they justify to themselves the taking of all those children's financial aid and loan monies and put their ass out. And if they're not careful when their mothers came, they'll call them in the back room like they trying to help them and somehow get their vital information and open accounts on their names. We talking about diabolical, man. We talking about willing to do anything. One of my last days at Pilot, Flying J's of Dixon. This lady Bailey, she had told me and my wife one day she worked 30 years at Regis. But as I was observing her during the times I was there, oh, she was vicious, racist. But this lady was incompetent as well. So how these people are getting these jobs as managers, it's got to be based on their hatred for people of color. She gonna come up to me it was about 10 o'clock at night. I'm at the cash register where I'm supposed to be. I'm the best at it, what I'm doing. You don't see no lot of clients standing, no lot of customers standing in here not being treated, handled. Brien, I want you to come outside so I can show you something and show you how the trucks. And I'm a cashier. What I need to see how the trucks go for. All the time, the owner of Pilot, he was over HR, mind you. Probably was out there in the back, or probably had to try to set me up through Paul. He was the maintenance guy there at the store I was at. But this Paul, quick as he got there, he would run up to the cash register. So I looked up that same night, Bailey had tried to lure me outside and Paul coming in the front door. Once I had told him I wasn't going. I guess she may have had a listening device on her. They've been tracking me with all type of devices. They've gone all out because they realized I was the only one who would be able to sink them. They hadn't got knockers and everybody else to tell the students, fuck you. If you're not talking about you graduated and they took your money, we don't want to hear it. But I graduated and got my license. So did my wife. I graduated 11/11/2014. She graduated 1/27/2015. I passed the theory portion of the cosmetology exam 11/15/2014. She passed her theory portion 2/9/15. She took the 2/11/15. She was passing the practical. Aced them. 13 days. In 13 days, she was a professional. I would have been that in less than that if they hadn't called up to Memphis as I was en route to take the practical. Tasha Parham, her and Kelly Garland, and of course Beth Krause and Sandy Tina McGovern, Nafzinger Myro, knowing they had stole all our financial aid and loan monies, they was trying to hurt me. They didn't like me. They racist. They lean toward homosexuals. White homosexuals, mind you. They racist. She called and ahead of me. The lady, when I read my credentials to the lady at PSI, she said, well, they just took your name off the list. So I'm going back to, me and my wife driving back to Jackson, Tennessee. Of course, I'm hot as a 6-shooter. I get a call. Guess who? Tasha Parham. Talking to me like I done did her wrong. Vicious. I was wondering why she was down there every day almost at the time when I was about to graduate, closed up in this room with a computer in it. All the time she's still in her dentist. She projecting like I'm at the Coleman Road School. Got my wife different places. I'm in Astoria, New York. We everywhere. They busting checks everywhere. Loan me $20-something hundred and my wife $20-something hundred of these big checks they been busted. Loaned it to us, mind you.
They sure didn't take it out too.
You see? So man, we've been up against it, man. We two quality people. I don't understand how our system is allowing this to go this long. But maybe the system know better than me. I know the system works. And I know Mr. Barr and Mr. Trump and them are going all out to drain this swamp. These activities I'm describing to you, these are swamp people activities. They had been able to get away for years with them Clintons and Obamas in there. But this guy, Mr. Trump, we got to give him 4 more years. We've never seen him go after these pedophiles like this. freeze their accounts. Well, under Barack Obama, Epstein was able to get a deal where he damn near would lead it. He wasn't really in jail. Oh, I don't know if that was Barack Obama. It may have been Joe. Yeah, it was Barack. He was able to leave the jail every day. Come back, wake up, leave again. And they know that he was molesting those children, raping them, probably torturing them and everything over there on that island he had. These people have no empathy. That's what separates them from the normal human being. They lack empathy. You better not look for no sympathy from them. They take pride in shitting on you in regards to that, showing you that you're totally different from them. So, man, we're praying for victory over these people. I'm talking about ASAP. God knows I'm tired of sleeping in this car. And my wife's tired of sleeping in this car. We're not complaining because we see people who don't have a car to sleep in. So we're ones who walking around in gratitude. We're not despondent, in spite of how I'm sounding.
We're not useless eaters.
And of course we're not useless eaters, baby. They know that. So I'm gonna stop this video and try to get it up to YouTube. But I want you all to, if you can, if you use Twitter, my name is Brien Charles, and I set up a GoFundMe account. It's under Homeless Licensed Cosmetologist. Please, go fund us. I just said I needed 7,000. Just came up with some figured that would be enough, and once that money went down, the system would be to corral these people and be compensated us for our efforts. So I'm gonna close now, and I thank you guys for listening to me. I hope I didn't offend anyone. You all have a great day. Peace.